Okay, today is the 20th day of my weight loss journey, and this was I don't know what the word is, interesting day. I learned something. Um, this week I'm working on incorporating more vegetables into my meals. The first week was cutting out gluten and sugar. The second week was working on my meal times, restricting eating to meal times or snacks, not just grazing all day. And this week, my third week, I'm concentrating on fitting more vegetables, more fresh fruits and vegetables into my meals. Fruits really isn't a problem because I love eating fruits, especially in season ripe fruits because they're sweet, but vegetables is what I'm really working on. So this morning, I had a nice breakfast. I usually eat fruit for breakfast, but I ran out of my um, cuties, my little oranges. So I decided to have more of a high protein breakfast, and that's my breakfast. I had a fried egg, one slice of bacon, and some decaf tea with 1 tablespoon of heavy cream in it. And as I said, I really try to measure and weigh high fat, high calorie foods like the cream. So I did get out a tablespoon and I measured 1 tablespoon of cream in there. And I had one envelope of Truvia, which is a brand name of stevia. I try not to have things that have too much of a sweet taste because it can trigger me. So just one envelope of the Truvia kind of takes away the somewhat bitter taste of the tea without making it really sweet. So that's what I had for breakfast. And I tried to have more of a protein breakfast because I was reading an article just the other day about how protein really helps you to feel full longer. It steadies your blood pressure. And my doctor always told me that carbs fuel the appetite. So to make things easier for me, I'm trying to eat more protein. And I really think that that's true because what happened was I wasn't really hungry, but I've learned to eat meals at regular times because if I don't, then I can be like so hungry. It's really hard to make good choices. And I try not to do that to myself. So for lunch, I ended up having a trout fillet that I coated in Old Bay seasoning, blackened seasoning. And it has no sugar, it's low in salt, it's really good. And I cooked the trout in my George Foreman grill. And I really wasn't hungry after that, but I, remembered that I wanted to incorporate more vegetables in my meals. So then I had some carrots and celery, raw carrots and celery, and I had that with a little bit of hummus. And I really tried not to have too much of the hummus because it's kind of carby and but what I did was I had the hummus only with the carrots and like every other carrot. I didn't dip every carrot in it. And I just ate the celery plain. It's pretty good plain. And I had another cup of the decaf tea with a tablespoon of the cream with that. And then I also ended up having some dessert. And what I ate was 3 of my little date balls that I made. I don't know what else to call it. It's really supposed to be put in a square pan and cut, but I only had one arm, so I really couldn't do that. I just could use my one hand to put gloves on and scoop it up, kind of shape it in a ball and put it on a plate. So that's where I am right now. But they're supposed to be packed into a square pan and cut into squares. So that was my lunch. And what really surprised me is that I wasn't hungry for dinner. I just wasn't. So maybe there's something to that, that protein keeps you full longer, it steadies your blood pressure, it cuts down your appetite because that trout was quite a lot of protein. I looked it up on my fitness pal, it's like 45 grams of protein, and then between the egg and the bacon, that's pretty much my protein grams that I needed for the day. And it when I'm not eating carbs, like I didn't have oatmeal. I mean, I know that the date things had some carbs in them, but they were complex carbs. I mean, the dates, I used whole dates, so they had some fiber in it. And between the dates and the flaxseed and the chia seeds and the oatmeal, which it did have some oatmeal, and unsweetened peanut butter, it had a lot of fiber. So, although I did have too many probably, but I just wasn't hungry for dinner. And I'm seeing when you don't eat a lot of carbs, carbs do fuel the appetite because I used to be a lot hungrier before, but I wasn't. So I didn't really want to eat dinner when I wasn't hungry. And I thought, well, I'll wait till I'm hungry. And I didn't, I ate lunch like maybe about 2, and I wasn't hungry for dinner till about 7. So that was pretty good. And because I really wasn't that hungry, I decided, well, you know what? I'm going to make it really healthy because that's the time to do that when you're not really hungry and you're not really craving anything. So I had 3 stalks of celery, just plain celery in water. I didn't dip them in anything. And then that kind of fueled my appetite a little bit by the time I had that. So I had 2 slices of this pepper jack cheese. Now, as I said, I try to get kind of partitioned food, like individual slices in this case, because it's easy for me to overeat. Like if I got the block of cheese, you know, and I was estimating, I'd just have a little bit more. And before I know it, I would eat half the block, or not half, but a quarter of it, which would be way more than I intention to have. But when you get something that's already in individual servings, like the slices of cheese, you're just more aware. Okay, I'm having 1 serving. And I was still hungry, so I went back and I had 2, but at least I was aware, keenly aware that I was having 2 servings, and I was okay with that rather than thinking I had 1 serving when I had like 3 with the block of cheese. So that's one of my most important tips. Like get things that are already partitioned out, like individual serving sizes of yogurt or of cottage cheese or anything whenever you can, because it's really important, especially when you're overweight, because you didn't get overweight eating, raw carrot sticks all day. You probably ate some high calorie food and overate of it. And this kind of gets you back into having more of an innate instinct about what a regular serving looks like. Because a lot of people don't, including me. When I started weighing and measuring everything a couple of years ago, that was very eye-opening for me to realize how much I was overeating. So I want to say a little bit about the leaving the carbs and the sugar because I see a real difference in my appetite. I mean, I'm a true believer now that it's an addiction because it just is. I mean, I don't feel the same about it. I said this in my video yesterday, but when I see something, and of course part of me is still tempted, but I don't think of it the same way. And a couple years ago when I was tempted, I would think, oh, you know what, that cupcake would taste so good. And yeah, it's really high in carbs and it's not good for my blood sugar. And I might put on a couple pounds and I'll have to eat more carefully tomorrow. Now I associate it with that crazy out of control craving. I don't see a cupcake and think about calories and what I'm going to have to do to burn those calories off and that it might make me retain fluids. I don't think that way. I think I don't want to go back there. I don't want to go back to that crazy out of control never can get enough feeling where I buy a pack of Oreos with complete intention to only have a serving size, which is 2, and just end up eating half the bag until they're gone or I throw it away out of frustration. I don't want to go back there. I don't want to experience that again. I don't want to feel that way again. I don't like myself when I'm that way. That sounds like an addiction to me. It's not just about the taste. And it's really showing me that what I've read is true, that it works like crack on your brain. Um, I mean, why else, if it wasn't an addiction, why would people be willing to die for sugar? And they are. People don't put it that way, but I have to include myself. I mean, I've had high blood sugar for 10 years. I've been pre-diabetic for 10 years. I kept eating sugar in moderation, I thought, but I kept doing it. And why was I playing Russian roulette with my health that way? I mean, I don't even know. When I look back, I'm like, what was wrong with me? What, I mean, what was up with that? It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And I did try. I mean, it's the games we play with ourselves. And I'm no exception. I would go to Dairy Queen and I would think, you know what? It's not like I'm getting the blizzard with all that candy in the ice cream. It's not like I'm getting a sundae with whipped cream and syrup. I'm getting an ice cream cone. You know, I'm doing good. No, I'm not. It has sugar in it, and I already have high blood sugar. My pancreas is already strained. What am I doing? You know, so many people live like that. And I'm so glad that I've gotten off that merry-go-round. And I have to be really careful not to go back because it's so easy. Sugar is in everything. I mean, sugar is in the buns at McDonald's. It's things that, I mean, of course, everyone knows that ice cream and cookies and candy and cake has sugar, but most people don't know that salad dressing has it and bread has it and just about everything has it. Most people aren't aware of that. I mean, tomato sauce has it. It was really difficult for me to find a tomato sauce for my mug lasagna that didn't have sugar in it. So it's important to get over those addictions. And once you do, it's a lot easier. I mean, this is my 20th day. So I'm kind of excited because I read that after 28 days, something becomes a habit. So I'm like a week away from this being a habit. And I still have to fight hard to keep it, but I'm determined to continue to be sugar and gluten free because that's the only thing that works for me. And even when I lose all the weight, I'm not going to go back to that. I might eat some complex carbs like the hummus, may eat a little more of that, but I don't intend ever to go back to that crazy addiction that I had. I mean, it makes me sad. I mean, diabetes is an epidemic. So many people are killing themselves over this addiction and they have to face it. And at the same time, you know, you don't want to get too preachy and controlling because it's an individual journey. I had to be ready. I had to be ready to face the truth about what I was doing to myself and to give it up and to find strategies to make it work. And that's why I'm making these videos because I want to share this. I wish that I would have found something like this. But thank goodness I have really good doctors that really speak very plain truth to me. I mean, I had a doctor that just looked at me and said, you know what? I don't understand you. You are too sick to get diabetes. Why are you doing this to yourself? I mean, that's pretty plain, if nothing else is. So, um, I guess a doctor can talk to you like that. And what he's meaning is I have other health problems. Asthma is just one of them. But that's not what this is about. This is about anybody can do it. You can take back control of your health. You can get rid of the sugar, get rid of the gluten, start eating healthier. Progress, not perfection. It's a journey, but I'm happy to say that I can no longer say that I'm 100 pounds overweight. I'm 95 pounds overweight, and that's progress. So I'm going to continue that progress and get better. And this week I'm working on incorporating more vegetables in my meals and a little more fruit, and I did good today. So I had vegetables at 2 meals. I'm going to try to get them in 3. If I could get a couple stalks of celery and breakfast, that'd be great. But progress, not perfection. Okay, bye-bye.